what happened with South Carolina. Let's talk about this first. Obviously, Texas A&M came in as a top 5 team, still undefeated on the season. So it wasn't like you were giving up 27 points to a slouch. But from 30-3 and losing that football game, what has it done to this team from a psychological standpoint? Obviously, taking the opponent into consideration there as well, but losing that game by a point.
Yeah, well, the big message from Shane Beamer during the game is a lot of people are surprised about the score right now when they were up 30-3, of course. But he wasn't surprised, just based off of the way that they've been playing all season. They've been in it in the fourth quarter in a lot of these matchups, just not able to close it out. So he wasn't surprised about the massive lead that they built, but obviously not the way that you want to end a game, losing that 27-point lead and ending up losing the game 31-30. But Shane Beamer and, the rest of the guys on that staff are ever the optimists. He's looking at this game as an example of what they could be, that first half team that came out. But obviously the second half, you want to just completely erase that from your memory or learn from it is, the biggest thing that they could do at this point. A lot of the younger guys who will be coming back and rejoining the team next season just to learn from that second half and remember what those feelings are so that you don't make those same mistakes ever again.
Yeah, and I feel like Shane Beamer might use this as a learning moment because there was that clip that went around social media of him at halftime firing up the South Carolina faithful. Do you think that he's going to, temper his emotions a little bit? Because, he did kind of get humbled in a way.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just kind of the guy he is. Like, I don't know if there's any way at this point in his life to kind of control the emotion that he just exudes naturally. Like, he's just that kind of person. He did, however, say that they went into the locker room and there was no intention of, being like slowing down or taking your foot off the gas pedal. They wanted to keep going. They wanted to keep putting up the points and obviously weren't able to do that. But there was no complacency during halftime, according to him. They wanted to keep going and, like you said, got very humbled in that second half for sure.
Right. Anytime we talk about these massive comebacks, the focal point is usually always on the comeback. And a lot of times I like to start with the way the game started, because the way the game started lets you know coach's preparation, lets you know the player's mindset going into it. Is there any positives that can be taken from the top of that game and saying, hey, this is what we're capable of. We're capable of putting up 30 points on a top 5 team. We're capable of still doing this despite all of our deficiencies elsewhere. We still have a chance to do this, and it was all about, just finishing strong. I mean, you hold them to one less touchdown. Obviously, you win the football game. Is there any talk on the other end of this that might be Pollyanna, glass half full, but like just saying, hey, look, our ceiling is pretty high given how we played in those first 30 minutes?
Absolutely. And just looking at the record, obviously you wouldn't think that this is a good team that has the amount of talent that it does. But like I said, have been in the game for a lot of fourth quarters throughout this season and have shown that they are a team that can compete. I think watching that first half, they looked like a playoff team. They looked like the kind of team that they were supposed to be and that everyone was expecting coming into the season. But obviously that second half was probably one of the more excruciating halves of football I have ever witnessed. And so that's, again, something that you want to throw away completely, learn from, but something that you want to wipe off the table and not have happen again. But watching that first half definitely can leave you optimistic for what the future of this team holds. It's a lot of young guys on the roster, a lot of talent. And so if they are able to come back, learn from those mistakes and play like the team that played in that first half, they absolutely have the potential to go on and be a successful team next year and potentially for years to come.
Absolutely. I know everybody wants to put this to bed, including you. But we have one more piece of sound to listen to from Shane Beamer about the second half.
Sunday during meetings, I think there was very much a sense of what just happened. I think we all feel that way. And then you look at the tape on Sunday and you're really able to dive into it. Let's give A&M some credit for the way that their quarterback and their team played in the second half. And simply, did not play well enough or coach well enough in the second half. So we watched that tape on Saturday. But like always, and I know people don't want to hear it, and I really don't care, we went out on Sunday night and we had an awesome practice. And our guys responded just like I knew that we would respond.
All right, so now everything springs forward, and Coach is talking about using this, and you and Patrick just mentioned that earlier about using this as a spring forward. Obviously, there's one more tune-up game right before the big game against Clemson there. What are some of the ways that this team, both from a non-tangible, from a on-field perspective, preparation, what are some of the things you'll be looking for with this team as they go to play a team that they're obviously superior to?
Yeah, well, I think that not underestimating any opponent is, the big thing. And they do have a couple of seniors on this team who are going to be celebrating senior day this upcoming Saturday. So they obviously want to finish out the season strong, first by beating Coastal Carolina and then beating their in-state rival in Clemson. So those senior leaguers are really stepping up, leading the way, and not walking around defeated like they've already lost so much. They want to finish the season strong and just end it on a positive note. And a lot of guys also, trying to improve their draft stock, just trying to get good film for potential people that could be drafting them, potential teams that could be drafting them. So they are in no way slumping down or acting defeated or acting like, sad boys, as Shane Beamer called it. They still want to come out and finish the season strong, not underestimating any opponent because Coastal Carolina has been playing pretty well, but they definitely want to end the season on a good note.
Yeah, I don't want to skip past Coastal Carolina by any means because anything can happen with Sun Belt teams. But do you think if Shane Beamer were to pull off a win against rival Clemson at the end of the year, it'd kind of put some of this, struggles from this season to bed and be like, well, we just ended the season beating our own rival. Yeah, we didn't get to a bowl game, but we still beat our rival.
Absolutely. That game is huge. Everyone in the state will be watching. So to pull out a win in that one would be extremely beneficial to Shane Beamer moving forward into the next season. And just for the guys that are coming back, like I said, just to have that under their belt, the fact that, hey, maybe we didn't start the season strong. Maybe the entire season wasn't what we expected. But if we can close it out with a win, beating Clemson, is always a plus for them. So if they could pull that off, that would absolutely, I think, set up 2026 to hopefully be a more successful year.
Yeah, you said everybody in the state will be watching. I found it really interesting as it relates to the schedule because South Carolina plays South Carolina State. Now they'll play Coastal Carolina, and then at the end of the season, of course, playing Clemson. How special is it to be able to have your marquee universities, whether it's an HBCU, whether it's a FCS, or whether it's an FB, a lower-end FBS, or your other Power 4? How special is it for the state of South Carolina to kind of rally around one another and be able to still play these in-state games? Because I know a lot of other states, this one included, they won't play any teams from the state of Alabama. They'll always go elsewhere. How special and is important to it to be able to have not just the Clemson South Carolina game at the end, but the other two games be against in-state teams?
Yeah, that was something that Shane Beamer talked about early in the season, just the fact that they get to do that and the community that football is as a whole, whether you go for Coastal Carolina or for Clemson or South Carolina, just getting to come together as a state and participate in the community that is football. I think that's really important. And like you said, this is the third, they'll play 3 in-state teams this entire season. And I think that's something that Shane Beamer has mentioned he wants to continue doing during his time as head coach with the Gamecocks. So it's very important, and I think it's a very exciting final 2 weeks for Gamecock fans for sure.
Right. I've always thought that too. I've always thought if you're going to pay a bunch of money, if you're going to pay, north of $500,000 to $1 million to another school, why don't you just keep it inside your state and keep it inside the local economy? Because you have people from that area. Like coastal Carolina people will be coming, straight from the beach. They'll come, straight there.
It's like South Alabama with Auburn this year.
Yes. You keep all that money there in house. It always baffles me with schools that do not do that. And I don't mean to pick on Alabama, but Alabama is the one around here that they will never play an in-state team. We've seen Texas do it. We've seen the Ohio teams do it. I'll get on a high horse about that because I feel very strongly, and I love the way that Shane Beamer and South Carolina are doing that. Of course, like Patrick said, we obviously don't want to overlook the Chanticleers, but looking ahead to that Clemson game and turning it to the Clemson side now. Obviously got a big win this past weekend, and Dabo was loud about it too after the game and said basically we're here, and he's talking the way he did when he was hoisting national championships. What do you make of that big win as they kind of start to gear up towards the end of their season?
Well, just like South Carolina, I mean, they're trying to finish the season strong, and picking up a top 20 win was obviously a big way to continue forward throughout the season. They only have a couple games left as well. And just like South Carolina, they want to beat their in-state rival. And so they're coming off obviously more momentum, picking up that win. But yeah, like you said, Dabo is, a very emotional coach as well, and gets very loud, hypes his team up. So it's going to be an exciting matchup for sure. I think when you're looking at both of these teams, South Carolina's defense, I would say in a lot of ways is maybe superior to Clemson's defense, just watching the games and kind of examining things. They've been a little bit more consistent, obviously blowing a couple big leads, but beyond that, they've been a pretty consistent unit, have been able to generate a lot of takeaways. But looking at Clemson's offense and what they have with Cade Klubnik playing so well since his return from injury, I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game, and the crowd at Williams-Brice is going to pack that place, and it's going to be very exciting, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We've talked a lot about the coaching searches around here, and we'll get to the other side of this here in a moment. But now that the window is officially closed for Virginia Tech, I had not heard Shane Beamer's name really connected with any other specific job outside of that one because of his family. Is there any sense of just relief that he hasn't said anything official, but is there any sense of relief from fans out there that wanted Shane Beamer to continue to build on what he has now that James Franklin is officially the head coach there at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of fans didn't really expect him to go anywhere. He's been talking for so long about the fact that he loves this team. He does not want to go anywhere. He loves being in Columbia. His family loves being in Columbia. So I don't know that there was a huge sense of worry, but it definitely closes the door on all of the rumors and everything that could come up with that. So it's nice to know that he is at least not going there. Now, obviously, his job here, I wouldn't say is in question, but you do definitely want to see him pick up these final 2 wins of the season just for a little bit of reassurance, I would say. But he definitely is talking like he's going to be there for several years in Columbia for several years to come. So we shall see.
Absolutely. Speaking of James Franklin, Dabo was asked about James Franklin. Here are his thoughts on the new Virginia Tech head coach.
He's a winner. He's a winner. He's won everywhere he's been. He's a good football coach. I've known James for a long time. I have a good relationship with him. Certainly be great for our league, and I think it's a great fit. Similar recruiting footprint as far as what he's been a part of for a long time, and I'm happy for he and Fumi, his wife. They're again. I see him. I've spent a week with them every February for 15 years. So I've known him a long time, but he's a winner. I know people, he hadn't won the championship. He was a play away last year from being in the national championship, but he's a proven football coach. And, I think they made a great hire. I think he'll do a great job. Again, great for the league, great for Virginia Tech, and good for the kids that he'll have opportunity to coach.
As somebody who follows the ACC a lot, now getting a guy like James Franklin, who's been in the SEC at Vanderbilt, of course, been in the Big Ten with Penn State. What's the overall sense from ACC coaches? We heard from Dabo just then, but for somebody who covers the league, what's the overall consensus about a guy like James Franklin with his pedigree coming over to Blacksburg?
Well, you just mentioned it there. His pedigree obviously speaks for itself. He has an incredible resume. And so I think maybe not putting teams on notice so much because Virginia Tech does have a lot that they need to work on. But it's great just to see a coach who has his kind of resume come to this conference and continue to expand and continue to make it a contender as we move forward with this new college football playoff landscape and all of the things that change in college football. It's great to see someone with his resume join the conference and potentially just add to the success that it has attained so far.